Greg Ferrera, President and CEO of the National Grocers Association. And I'm so happy to have a special guest with us today, Emily Metz, who's the CEO of the American Egg Board. Emily, how are you? Thanks for joining.
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me, Greg, and happy to be here with you.
Absolutely. Well, look, it has been a busy time, obviously, in the food industry, and eggs have been a big part of that. You've been in the news lately, both in terms of what's going on with pricing and with the flocks, but also really the consumer trends. We want to talk about that today. Why don't we kick it off? Why don't you tell me a little bit about kind of what's going on in the industry? What are you seeing, and what should our grocers know?
Sure. Well, I think first and foremost, as your grocers have probably seen, eggs are an incredibly popular protein right now. We are in our 20th month of year-over-year consecutive growth in terms of consumption and volume sales, and I'm sure your folks have seen that at the store. As your folks are very familiar, normally we see a sales slump in the summer as people are outside, they're barbecuing. Normally, eggs don't fit quite as well into those summer months. We did not see that slump this year. We saw record high consumption, and we're actually approaching a 50-year record high consumption level for eggs at the rate we're going. And so I think as your folks have seen, the trend is eggs are in, eggs are hot. People are buying them at record numbers. And I know we're going to get into the challenges the egg industry has had this year, but what I think the headline of 2024 is record high demand for eggs and egg products across the board.
And that's great. That's a great thing for our grocers as well, because it keeps consumers, coming back to their stores. Eggs are, for the most part, a local item, right? And they're hatched not too far, usually from stores, and so it's a great way to keep consumers coming back. And I know my own household, I have two teenagers and a teenager son in particular who is downing a few eggs every morning. It's a great way to get them off to school and have them prepared. Let's talk a little bit about what is going on in the marketplace. You were gracious enough to speak to our board of directors in October and help share not only some of the things you guys are doing, and we'll talk about some of those marketing programs, but importantly, kind of what's happening in the marketplace. And then how should grocers be talking to their consumers about the price fluctuations and even the supply challenges? So what are you seeing, and how should grocers be talking to consumers?
Sure. Well, the first thing I'll say, Greg, and I know I said this at your board of directors meeting, AEB is here to help. We have communications resources and tools. I will honestly say I never had eggs becoming a political issue on my bingo card for the year, but lots of surprises this year. And I think the biggest thing is trying to channel that honesty and transparency. We, as an egg industry and as kind of the industry that represents farmers every day, we've really taken it upon ourselves to try to share transparently the challenges that egg farmers have had this year. And many, many, many of those challenges tie back to highly pathogenic avian influenza or bird flu. And this is not something that our farmers are new to. We experienced the first outbreaks here in 2015. We learned a lot of really hard lessons in terms of how to make our farms really biosecure. Our industry has invested billions of dollars, that's billions with a B, in trying to combat this disease. And we've been fairly successful at that. Unfortunately, this year, the disease has evolved in two really critical ways, which I think is important to help people understand. The first is the disease was found for the first time in dairy animals. And for those that might not know, our farms across the country tend to be close together. So you might have a pig farm near a dairy, near an egg farm. And unfortunately, this disease is transmitted by wild animals, mostly wild birds, but we now believe there might be cross-contamination with, rodents or, even bugs. Or we've had a few instances where employees have, a husband's worked on the dairy, a wife's worked on the egg farm, they do their laundry together, and virus particles have traveled between the two. So that's been a new evolution. Because of the way dairy farms are structured, they can't kind of close them in and protect them from the elements in the same way that we can as egg farms. And so that's been a totally new element we've had to deal with. The second is a changing environment has really changed the flying patterns of migratory birds. We've seen a lot of wildfires, a lot of significant hurricanes this year, tornadoes, other weather events, and we now are seeing birds migrating south for the winter just now. And so normally we could really predict when the virus was at its most potent or most likely to spread, and it really tracked those migratory patterns in the spring and the early fall. That's not the case this year. We're seeing birds that should have been migrating south or maybe did migrate south who've been displaced by a hurricane kind of come back around and shed that virus for a second time onto our egg farms. And so it's added a whole new set of challenges. The good news is farmers are resilient. They're investing we're investing in research to continue to understand how this virus is evolving, and we're getting better every day. But it's been a challenging year with those two new elements when it comes to bird flu.
Yeah, and I think you guys are resilient, right? Because the supply comes back, and we continue to push forward. And in a period of, as you said, almost record-breaking demand or record-breaking demand. Yep. I think you said something early on. I think it's really important. Sometimes it's just communicating to consumers and explaining and being transparent. And we appreciate the resources you guys provided to our team, but also on your website, because we were able to create some signage for our retailers to be able to use in their stores. And we have found during these challenging times, whether it's with eggs or another commodity, yeah, just explaining to consumers what is going on helps them make that connection to maybe what they're hearing in the news and to what they're seeing in the store shelves. And quite frankly, reminds them that, these items aren't grown at a factory, right? They come from nature. And so climate or other, human disasters or viruses or other things can have an impact on the supply. And I think that's incredibly important. And so we appreciate the resources you guys provide, and would encourage our retailers to go to your website and to reach out to you guys if they're looking for more information, help them communicate to their consumers.
Yeah. And we know that your retailers are the tip of the spear. They're the ones with the interface with the end consumer who's frustrated. And we know consumers are frustrated. They're trying to understand, why are my eggs this price one day and they're a completely different price the next? Why are they here one day and they're not here the next? And we know that your retailers and the employees in those stores bear the brunt of that frustration, especially this time of the year when people are already a little stressed because their in-laws are coming to town and they've got to get dinner and breakfast on the table for more people. And we know that. And so we want to help you tell that story and explain to people what's going on in a really honest and authentic way. And if you need any assistance, we are here to help.
That's great. So let's look to the future. You guys are continuing to grow the industry and want to connect with consumers. And you have a new campaign that you're launching called Meant to Be Broken. Tell us a little bit about that and how retailers can participate, help, again, connect to those consumers and grow more sales in this category.
Well, we love a pun over at the American Egg Board. And as the old adage goes, Greg, you have to break a few eggs to make a great omelet. And that's all about what Meant to Be Broken is kind of about, is eggs are, by definition, meant to be broken. But more than that, the campaign is hopefully a rallying cry, and we've already seen some great results of showcasing to consumers that eggs are more than just a breakfast food. We've done a lot of research at the American Egg Board, and what we've seen, we've actually gone into people's homes and watched them cook dinner, watch them cook lunch. And what we see is they almost are, that egg carton is invisible to them. And they almost forget that it's there and that it's an option for them. And even despite, some elevated prices right now, eggs are still one of the most affordable proteins you can buy, an incredibly filling protein option for your family. And we want this campaign to kind of shake up, challenge preconceived notions, break down barriers, so to speak, get people to take risks and think about eggs in new ways. And so we launched the campaign with a slew of new influencer-led recipes on social media. Again, all meant to challenge people's preconceived notion. We're working with some pretty fun influencers like Sunny Choi, who was the first Olympic break dancer from the U.S. this year, did work on this campaign this summer. We've got a whole slew of new high-profile influencers connecting to people starting next year, and we even just launched a game on the really popular Roblox platform for kids and parents to play together. And again, it's all about completing fun challenges to break up your thinking about how eggs can be used. So a lot of really new kind of fun ways to connect to people.
That's great. Well, I think those connections are really important because as we're seeing, you look at consumers and you're continuing to see more consumers are on these new weight loss drugs, Ozempic and others that are out there. And an important component of being on those drugs, I understand it, is consuming healthy proteins. And even folks who are on those drugs, that nutritionists and others are saying the more healthy proteins you can consume, the more full you'll feel, the better it is, the more calories your body will burn. Eggs are an important component of that. Talk about what you're seeing there, and how maybe grocers should be marketing to their consumers about using eggs as one of those healthy proteins.
Yeah, I think it's a great question. It's a huge trend. Obviously, a record number of people on those drugs focused on healthful eating. I think we'll probably see that number go even higher as people start the new year and have their resolutions in place. What we found with protein is really it's all about protein plus convenience. And so we've got a whole suite of resources for in-store signage, clings, reminders that can go in different areas of the store to really help people know how to prepare eggs in a convenient way. Meal prepping is still a trend. Kind of looking ahead at your week and making sure that you have grab and go snacks ready to go. That's hugely important, especially on those weight loss drugs, so that you have protein that's convenient and snackable and really easy to grab. And eggs need a little bit of help in order to be convenient. You can't just grab a raw egg and go out the door. I guess you could if you were Rocky Balboa, but most people aren't going to do that. And so we need to help people connect the dots on how to prep eggs, make them convenient, make them portable and grab and go. And so we have a whole suite of resources for your retailers to help give them some ideas on how they can make eggs really convenient, meal prepped, grab and go protein options.
That's awesome. So one of the great ways to get consumers excited are the new products, new innovation that's coming out in the new year. You guys have a number of partners. Can you share some of what you're seeing and what consumers may see on store shelves in the coming year?
I can give you a little sneak peek. It fits into what we were talking about just now, which is protein, protein, protein. And we've been working with a number of companies this year on some really exciting new egg innovations. And one of them that's coming to market early next year is a new egg white wrap. And so when you look at protein, it functions the same way as a tortilla. And so you can make your own wraps and wrap sandwiches at home. But even better this year is we're launching, this company that we've worked with is going to be launching grab and go wraps that already have deli meat, fillings, spread, veggies on the inside. So it'll be available in that refrigerated case. You can grab it on your way out the store, stock up on a few for the week, and you have a really portable, high protein meal ready to go with no preparation required. So we're really excited. And again, it's all about putting eggs into new formats, convenient formats, reminding people that they can do different things with eggs. I think that's what this year's all about, and it certainly will be about in 2025.
And I think that's important. We think eggs, first thing we think about is the egg case, but there is so much innovation. There's so many other products throughout the stores. And this is, I think, a really exciting time to be connecting with consumers. And then again, as we talk about helping consumers get over those questions they may have with simple transparency and signage and the resources you guys and our organization have as well. Emily, as we close this out, how should folks find you guys? Where can they go for more information? What resources do you have to share? And of course, they could also reach out to us as well.
Yeah, we'd love for them to reach out to you. Incredibleegg.org is our website. There's a whole professional side of that for retailers and food service companies. And frankly, we just love to partner with your folks, Greg. If they want to trial an in-store activation, we'll put money behind it. If they want to look at a new recipe campaign or maybe how to improve their deli case and be more focused on healthful proteins, we want to work with your folks on that. And so again, please reach out to us, reach out to you guys, get connected to me, emets@aeb.org, and we'd love to work with you. It's a huge goal of us to work hand in glove with retailers in 2025 and try some of these new ways to connect to the end consumer and remind them that eggs are meant to be broken.
That's awesome. Well, Emily, thank you so much for your partnership with not only NGA, but our independent supermarket industry. To our grocers out there, the Egg Board wants to work with you to grow your sales in eggs, to help connect to those consumers. Look for the resource they have, reach out to them, find collaborative ways to help grow that category, and be a resource and a connection for your customers. That's what our folks are all about. Emily, we look forward to seeing you and your team around NGA and some of our events as well, and wishing you all the best in the remaining days of 2024 and a very exciting 2025 as we look forward to growing this category together.
Cheers to New Year, Greg. And we know that when eggs are in that basket is 40% higher sales. And so let's work together to have some great sales in 2025.
That's awesome. Thank you, Emily.